It certainly is. I just worry about the PL being countered later for Arkosh. And quite frankly, I don't think the PL is that strong of a carry right now in this current meta. We saw it earlier on today, but it just didn't really go anywhere. It just seems to kind of fall off quite a bit. That was quite a close match, though, mind you. Still, final ban out here. This will be Arkosh's ban. Probably just wanting to get rid of anything that enjoys playing up against the PL. I'm not sure if you even bother going Ricky anymore up against Phantom Lancer. Of course, before the recent nerfs did come in, you could pick up Ricky, you could go for the Battle Fury Ags, and you could just cleave off all the illusions. And it was, not all of them, but, you could cleave the illusions down, and it was quite easy to just deal with the PL. I think you could still do that, though, if you are 5ManMidas. Just a matter of whether you want to run the Ricky.
Yeah.
It certainly has not been popular.
It hasn't. It's shrunk down since the nerfs. I think you've got the solid option in Ember here if you are looking at Wind Ranger support. Ember deals with PL really nicely. You get the Maelstrom, burn through illusions. The Wind Ranger can still be run off or pause 4. So you've got room for that Ember pickup. Miranda doesn't really stop the Ember until it has some setup. And that should be coming out with our hero down mid. So we'll see what the play is here for Candace Vulpes on mid. They might just consider their hard support now with a Mirana. Can still look for a setup there as well, though it's not been a priority for most Miranas. So we'll just see what options Arkosh wants to go with to enable this Phantom Lancer. I guess there's something like, well, no, Witch Doctor was banned out early on, as it is popular, but they do go with a CM here for Arkosh, and I'm fairly happy about this, Mike. It's kind of blue for Arkosh. So the Red Demons are going a bit blue. Mirana's got a blue outfit, PL's blue, CM is in blue. And 5ManMidas are staying kind of green. Undying, Wind Ranger, Underlord. He's got the green halo.
Yeah, okay.
It's a color team. It's lovely.
All right. I'll give it to you today, John. We'll see if they keep it up. We'll see if that's the idea here from Arkosh, the blue strat. What other blue heroes would you like to see, John? They need an off lane. They need a mid lane. Any blue heroes in particular that fit the bill?
Storm is there for mid.
Sure.
But that could be a bit greedy, and
off lane?
Maybe you run issues with the Underlord. Off lane, there's nothing blue left, is there?
I mean, there's only purple. And they break it already. There you go, John. No, it's all over. The Tide Hunter's out. Your fun's over. 5ManMidas. Green's a hard color to keep up with as well. Not that popular of a color, and there aren't that many heroes that are green.
Yep.
They'll go for the bristle. Oh. Everything's ruined. Everything's ruined.
That doesn't count.
John.
I mean, he spits out goo first, so...
It doesn't matter, John. You're stretching. You're stretching a bit too much.
Yeah, the Bristleback does come out, so that does leave it open as to what lane the Underlord and Bristle are going for. You could run a pos 1 Bristle in this case for 5ManMidas. You could still run it off, Underlord mid instead, something funky like that, but they're leaving their choices open. I suppose the Bristle is one way to deal with the PL, in terms of just getting AoE control out, but at the same time, once you burn through the mana of the Bristleback, it's not going to have the same impact. Of course, it's a back and forth. Once you burn the mana of Bristle, but he has high HP, your PL doesn't do damage anymore. So he's going to live longer and get some more Bristleback Quilt Sprays playing. So it's a weird back and forth with Bristleback timings. Should be interesting to see how 5ManMidas does flex it out, as they are leaving their options open. And it does look like Arkosh is still expecting something mid, so they think that the Bristleback is going to be safe lane here. We'll see if that is the case, as 5ManMidas will have to show their last pick first.
They still need that mid laner. Well, Underlord could be mid, so maybe a safe lane. What do they want? You still kind of have to deal with the PL. I think the Underlord Bristleback is pretty nice against the Phantom Lancer, but you need a bit more than that.
I think Ember is still really good here. You only have to worry about the CM route.
But then who goes safe lane?
Bristle. Bristle safe is the only choice there. Io.
Oh, okay. All right. Still a chance that's a support Io as well. Like it's unlikely it's a support Io, but there is potential to put the Wind Ranger as the safe lane carry, which we have seen in SEA a couple times. It's doubtful though. I think it is going to be a position 1 Io that we're seeing here, which should do just fine up against the PL. And Arkosh go with the OD to finish things off. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, it's left in the pool. It does come out. Did get a clarification from Dougie, our admin, former birthday boy. He does tell me that Arkosh were originally planning on playing with a stand-in for game one, but because we are behind schedule, Arkosh Gaming's roster is here full force, so there are no subs for them. Let's see how this pans out. OD is a really prime hero here. Punishes Bristle well, punishes Underlord well, saves anyone that gets caught out by a combination from the Wind Ranger getting, say, shackled up. So as long as Canis Vulpus is fine, he can save one of his allies, prevent the IO from taking anyone home as well. So it's such a well-rounded last pick, and it has faded in popularity post-nerf, but it is still a fairly potent hero to have. So I'm actually keen on Arkosh's draft. I think they've got the answers on hand. I think the OD is set to have a good time here, and the answers for the PL aren't quite lined up enough. Like, you have good AoE damage from Underlord Bristle. You could maybe focus fire the right target on the Phantom Lancer, but that takes a lot of ifs. Whereas for Arkosh, it's a little bit more straightforward in executing.
That it is. Should be an interesting game, number one. We'll see if 5ManMidas can make the core IO work. We'll see how the new players on 5ManMidas do. I actually can't believe Boons is playing the Oceanic League over this. There you go.
I think he has to because he's like the captain.
Right. He has
team,
to commit.
right?
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You can't just ditch a team. Unfortunately for Boons, he has been very sad as well. Maybe 5ManMidas gets a result here that cheers him up.
Hopefully. Do
And a
have
pause.
a very quick pause. Pretty standard stuff now these days. We just have to have a pause before the game starts. It does allow for some time for some trash talking if the teams do wish. Well, there we go.
Using the backyard for move his bowels.
Oh, that is not good. I love these guys.
Good. He doesn't have obviously doesn't have a little plus there, so it just has to all chat it. Yeah, Goat's cheap.
You reckon Gremlo ever gets hungry like while playing things like Tide? Was looking for Rayla Lisa, did not find it. What does that mean?
Rayra Lisa, not Rayla Lisa. Rayra Lisa.
What does that
Evil
mean?
twin of? I have no idea. Rayla Lisa's evil twin? I have no clue.
Confirm later on, maybe. Back to my question, John. Do you ever reckon Gremlo gets hungry playing heroes like Tide?
I think he's always hungry. I
Watching
think he's always hungry.
He's playing a literal watermelon, John.
Yeah. God.
There's no
God help
shame.
us.
There's no shame with Arkosh gaming.
Oh, you know what? You should show chat. I don't know if they can see it. If you go into the score tab and go into Canis Vulpus's picture, it's that lovely picture of fear. And well, with a certain drawing.
I'd rather not zoom into that.
Yeah, Dougie was like, "What the heck is that?" It's like, "Yeah, that's Canis Vulpus."
Speaking of Dougie, John, he's currently having a conversation while the game's going on. Go and asking where Carl is, the other admin. He's not around at the moment.
I thought Kyle was Tide Hunter.
It's going to be a lot of chatting this game, I think.
Dougie, no, don't do this to us, please. Please.
Oh.
Stop, Dougie. Keep it in check. It's not your birthday anymore.
Yeah. No excuses today, Dougie. Got to be careful, sir. Extra Monster going to secure the top bounties. Duffy going to leave the other one. Extra will be able to pick it up. It's like Alan is going to be in the mid lane on the Bristle. Fair enough. So you've got a mid Bristle back here. That does mean the Underlord and Wind Ranger are going to be up against the PL of Arkosh. Of course, that is going to be played by Pale Horse. And you do have Goat there to support him on the CM. But mid Bristleback into the OD. How do you figure this one comes out? Like, who does it favor?
I'd say OD. Like, you have some good harassment early on the Bristle. You've got the range advantage on the OD. You've got the Astral to play poke. You've got the early level and Arcane Orb to play poke as well. You can see Canis Vulpus was copying some hits from that Quilt Spray. And Alan's actually ready to spread that around. He's got 2 mangoes, so just wanting to get that initial farm. So early on, the OD is not going to have fun, but I think as the lane develops, the OD should be fine to sustain. Maybe get a value stick if you want. Probably you could afford to skip the bottle because Bristle's just going to constantly do this. We'll see if that's the play here for Candace Vilpus, but so far, Alan is using that level 1 spike quite nicely, pulling ahead of this OD so early on in the lane.
I was going to ask you about that stick. Still no stick coming out. Canis, he bought another set of tangos. And I realize on the OD, even in this with this new patch, you still want to just rush the meteor hammer. But it feels like a lot of value lost without getting that magic stick. And Alan just can keep using these quill sprays over and over again. Still bot lane, Duffy going to be in a slight bit of danger. Gremlo almost killing him off. Duffy has so much stolen strength that he is a bit too tanky to take down. Still looks like the bot lane is going to be going pretty decently for both sides, as even Lies not really struggling with CS right now on the IO.
Yeah, it's ends up being that core IO as well. So there's some pretty good combinations. Usually when you see the core IO, you want to have a nice core mid to combine with it, and the Bristleback is perfect. So, although Lies...
Oh, gets taken out. Gremlo gets the first blood. Lies not going to be too happy about that one. Looks like he had no one to tether to, and Duffy was not around the area to help out.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate. Good use of that opening here from Arkosh, is getting that done. Gremlo gets the setup for himself here in the lane. Not an easy lane to sustain, as you mentioned, but for the most part now, with a kill on your belt, you're going to have a better time on the Tide. Lies is currently sitting at 8-0, so keeping up with Pale Horse up top, but I think with this IO and Tide, you actually want to be up front a lot more, right? Like, you've got Tether, you've got Soul Rip at level 2, Tether plus Soul Rip's a lot of regen, and Duffy's just being run down.
He definitely is. Crow and Gremlo with no remorse, just keep hitting away at the Undying. Does have a lot of regen for now, so he could just remain in the lane. Of course, up at the top lane, Pale Horse not doing too badly, but see, Monster is having a much better time so far in the Undying, or rather Underlord, but it's to be expected. With the passive he does have, the aura, it does make it quite easy to get a lot of CS. Of course, makes it a little bit harder for Pale Horse on the PL as well. I don't really think the CM pure lane is going to be able to do much up against the Wind Ranger Underlord.
Nah, it's just a farming lane, although again, Duffy just gets run down. Has to watch that positioning. I think when you've got this IO Undying, you really just need to maximize your Tether prioritization, but you don't even have Tether up on Lies. He opted for Overcharge and Spirits, so you don't have any targets to go into, and that does make it complicated for the Undying in terms of zoning out here.
Yeah, Lies going to be a little bit under-leveled as Gremlo does hit level 4 now. Really good news for Arkosh. Looks like Alan's been kind of forced to go jungling. 4-minute power rune is going to be a regen as well. Very unlucky for the Bristleback, as he would have loved that regen. Canis is going to be able to go ahead and pick it up, get a full reset, and he's just going to continue laning away all by himself.
It's a really good start for Canis Vulpus. I mean, Alan's still keeping up in farm, but some of that is now just jungle creeps, which aren't as valuable. So the OD is starting to pull ahead. Even he does have that value stick.
Oh, not again. Duffy gonna die in the Undying. I'm getting both of them mixed up now, but the Undying dying again. Second time this game. Another kill to Gremlo on the Tidehunter. Top lane.
A lot.
Goat. Pretty big danger. Eggstar doesn't have another power shot, but does have the wind run. The Goat gets the magic stick off in time and does survive, and now Pale Horse. Turn back around for a bit of harass onto that Wind Ranger. Still very satisfied though if you are 5ManMidas. You are getting everything off this lane, including the bounty rune.
Yeah, it's coming at a bit of a cost. The other lanes are sort of slowing down. 3 kills up for Arkosh. Of course, that's mainly down bot. But you do want to support this Bristleback. He is still finding farm, but you are allowing this OD to build into that Meteor Hammer timing quite nicely. Has the Santies to play with as well in case he does get dived to. There's some tools now in hand for Canis Vulpus to turn around here. They're also not able to contest the pulse coming out from Arkosh on bot lane. Just constantly getting the farm up on Gremlo. The hours aren't being blocked from Crow. So they're getting a lot of value, and Lice is really starting to lag behind a bit. And this could be trouble if Gremlo does hit 6 in a timely manner. They could look to force an issue on the bot lane.
Monster slowed up by Goat. Pale Horse looks like he wants to go for the Phantom Rush. Frostbite there as well. Monster, he's getting very low now, but Eggstar is there with the Shackle. Pale Horse not going to try and follow up on that. We'll just let it be. Sometimes just leaving the opposing off lane on low HP is the way to go, but Monster is going to get salved up by Eggstar anyway.
Yeah, it's not too big of a loss there for the Underlord. He still has a waved farm up as well under his tower. He's getting a lot of gold, still controlling the lane well. Pale Horse, yeah, you know, he's still finding farm, but it is faster than the Io, so that is the blessing here, but not by much. And I think considering how badly the bot lane went for 5ManMidas, the fact that your PL's just not finding that much farm is maybe a bit of an issue. Lias is already dipping into that jungle, has to dominate her up, can clear out camps quite well.
Well, Duffy in danger, does drop the Tombstone, and Gremlo doesn't really care for the kill anymore. It's probably more value on just killing the Tombstone now, and he just takes it. This tier 1 tower is going to take a bit of harassment out early on, especially considering they just can't defend this lane any longer. Like, it's only Duffy there as Lies. He's gone to the jungle, and up at the top lane, Monster going to be in a spot of trouble here. Might die, but mid lane, the Bristle does also go down. Alan ends up dying to Canis Vulpus, and that's based on the fact that he does have the Meteor Hammer up now.
Yeah, it's a quick timing for Canis Vulpus. Does not get contested at all in farming that up, so you get some good punishment going to drag Crow around as well.
And Gremlo just gets a solo kill. I wasn't expecting that one, but Gremlo just off to a great start. 3-0-1 now on the Tidehunter. Looking very, very good. As Crow now is going to try and chase down Lies. Arrow going to fly out, but not going to land on anything. Lies, did he actually get the healing creep? He did too.
Oh yeah. Always nice when you've got that up, helps you sustain in the farm. And Lies is now just trying to build up in that jungle, saving up for the Orchid. This is a major spike for Arkosh though. They're sitting on Ravage. They can force a fight if they want to. And Meteor Hammer allows them to push in as well. And it looks like Canis Vulpus is going to make that move now.
Both waiting. Goat going to be maybe the first one spotted. Eggstar not going for the Shackle yet, and Canis is going to get the Astral but doesn't have the Meteor Hammer. Still they have the Arrow. Eggstar with the Windrun going to try and run, but the Sanities is going to be dropped there by the OD. Pale now going into Monster, and the Underlord not looking very tanky as he is going to go down. Crow the one to pick that up on the Mirana, and they've got another. With the Astral out onto Duffy, who's been having a very, very tough game already. He's going to cop an arrow to the backside. It is probably gone to Canis Vulpus. Even Alan just trying to catch up on the Bristle. Goes back for the Ancient, but it's going to cost him his life. Or maybe not. The Shackles is there, but it won't matter. Eggstar cannot help.
Oh, this is probably the best start we've ever seen Arkosh have. 0-9, 4K lead. They're having fantastic time here. The Demons are obviously just working together well. 5ManMidas, they're playing with 2 subs. It looks like it is throwing their pacing off just a bit, as they haven't gotten enough space out in the Bristleback, still saving up for the Eternal Shroud. All they can really hope for now is that Lies grows big enough on this Io to start taking control, but even his farm is lagging behind Canis Vulpus and Pale Horse.
That's a very brave TP, Alan. Astral's there, they aren't actually going to capitalize. They might assume that there is backup for Alan there. The Meteor Hammer was on cooldown as well, which makes it a little bit harder to commit for the Bristle. Still Arkosh in control of this game, number 1. 3K net worth lead. It's very hard as well.
Monster.
Yeah, Monster. Peter Malice down, but he's still ticking out to the Meteor Hammer, and he's going to die to it as...
Oh, Gremlo!
Gremlo, no.
No food for Gremlo.
Gremlo.
No food tonight. They get the tower anyway. Nothing happened there, Mike. I don't know. I don't know when Ravage was used. I didn't see it down there. They get the kill. And Canis Vulpus, well, he's ready again with the Meteor Hammer. They're going to play this shove out. So they've got control of bot lane. They've bought a lot of space out for Pale Horse up top. He's left alone to farm up, even if that tier 1 is still standing. And the side of 5ManMidas aren't really able to capitalize. They're just trying to build up. They need the Bristle back online. Alan's getting priority in that triangle, where Lies is taking the slightly riskier farm on the bot jungle. But Looks like he has switched out for the Ags rush instead of the Orchid, but the mid is going to be pressured now. No Ravage means that you're not going to have as much good presence here from Gremlo, but they should still be able to get a good push for that siege creep.
Yeah, tier 1 tower not going to last very long at this rate. Gremlo, they know he doesn't have the Ravage, so they're going to try and defend this with the Tombstone. Canis is still around with the Astral, but he can't go for the Meteor Hammer as it was on cooldown. They can go for the Arrow instead, but Goat has been caught out. Freezing Field not going to do much. He'll go down. Duffy trying to back, but there's your Astral out from Canis. He does have the Sanity's Eclipse to drop, and he does commit it. Thing is, Gremlo got the kill on the Tide. I suppose that does count as a defense towards the tier 1. It's just going to be a 1-for-1 trade in heroes.
Yeah, and it costs Arkosh a bit more. They did have to drop the Sanities. That's a very long cooldown. So they're going to have to sit back until some of these spells are back up. You can see Gremlo is saving up for the Blink, so he wants to be aggressive in the Tide. Wants to throw his body up front, get the Ravages off. And that is going to be a simple way to deal with these heroes on 5ManMidas.
Whoa, wait a minute. How long is that shackle?
Yeah.
That's a very, very long shackle. Arrow, gonna connect. Very nice timing there from Crow. Monster again being focused. Another pretty long shackle, but it is gonna connect to the tree. And Monster should die to this urn. No, he's gonna survive on 20 HP. But Canis is gonna find Aegster anyway. They get something for their time.
Oh yeah, and it's getting really hard here for 5ManMidas. 1-12, 5k lead for Arkosh. Still no answers for this PL. Pale Horse just allowed to farm into that Diffusal, which is flying in. So he can actually just commit to fights now if he wanted to. Might want to wait for the SNY, but you are hitting your item beats here on Arkosh, and 5ManMidas still have to play this passive game. You do have the point booster up on Lies, so the Ags is about 2 parts away now on the queue. And that should help the cause. Once it's up, you get your spirits out and flying, but then that means you have to hit your level 20 spike for that Axe to fully be utilized. So that is a long way off still for this IO, and our Bristleback is still saving up for that Eternal Shroud. Nowhere close yet. About 700 gold, so not too bad, but slow going for the side of 5ManMidas, and that is causing some pacing issues as Arkosh. Blink is flying in for Gremlo. He's got Ravage. They could look to play.
They could. Gremlo actually just topped the net worth board, having the best game of his life right now. Back to the mid tier 1. Meteor Hammer. Gonna come in, but the glyph was already there. Still gonna do a bit of damage. They are committed. It doesn't look like they're interested in backing off at all. I'm sure Gremlo wants to fight with that Ravage. They'll drop the Tombstone, but that's going to be just taken out so darn quick. Gremlo, do you want to commit the Ravage? He's going to try and walk away for now. And he might just get away with it. And does. In fact, they're going back in, perhaps. Canis. He's thinking about it. A smoke up. Gremlo may be baiting in the mid lane, hoping they go on him. There's the Astral out from Canis now. No Meteor Hammer follow-up. They'll go for the Arrow, but it does not connect this time. Shackle there on to the CM. Goat falling low, but he is still alive for the Freezing Field. Pale Horse going to come in now from the sideline. They get Aegster. Meanwhile, Allen in pretty big trouble as he is losing a lot of HP and should just die after this Astral is over. Though he is surviving for a little bit longer, he will go down. On the brighter side, he takes down Gremlo with him. There's your Meteor Hammer now. Not connecting onto Monster, but it won't matter. They found another. Arkosh are looking very dominant this game 1.
And they get a big objective. They hold on to the Ravage. Canis Vulpus didn't...
He denied a bounty rune.
Why?
Why would you do that,
Vulpus?
Canis?
What? All right. Just keeping it spy. He did say he was saving some for his business for 5ManMidas, and it looks like he's just delivering that business out with his plays. Arkosh now 8k up. What? That was a very late response to that non-existent Ravage a while ago, but nonetheless, I have to point out as well, Gremlo did go for the Vlads instead of the Blink Rush, so he is having more forward presence, which is fine. He's still saving up. Could go for the plate mail first if he wants to be tankier. But so far, so good for Arkosh. 9k up, 2 to 16. 5ManMidas. The Ags is coming out for Lies. So there is going to be more presence from this IO. My issue is I don't know if it's enough yet. Like, you love to point out the level 20 spike, Mike, and it's so far away for Lies in this game. The Bristle as well does have the Eternal Shroud, so it can be tankier up front. But that's all it is. Just tankiness and hoping that the fight lasts long enough that you get a lot of quills.
Ace has been caught on that Wind Ranger again. Alan is going to be there to try and help, but there's no helping her. He's gone. Alan now might be regretting his decision as a big Ravage comes out from Gremlo. Connecting on all three. They still have not fully committed for the team fight. And now the Pit of Malice comes out, connecting on two. Canis will be targeted, but they don't have detection. So the Moonlight Shadow allows everyone to leave. Now Alan, he's going to keep the chase up. The spirits are giving the info away. Pale Horse might just have to turn back around onto Lies, but it's actually a lot of damage up from these spirits, and they do eventually get the kill. Pro is going to survive.
It's that Ag Spike, and the IO just manages to make that work. The Ravage was great from Gremlo, but not enough. They couldn't commit the Santis as Canis Vulpus was too low, so they lose out on a lot of that damage in the PL. And just with Diffusal Yasha isn't enough to stand in the front line, so got to be a bit cautious. Canis Vulpus just aiming now.
He got spotted though. He doesn't realize, but he was spotted out, and he goes for the Astral, but he kind of mixed up the way to do it. Goes for the Meteor Hammer first into the Astral. Gremlo, meanwhile, mid lane, in a lot of trouble. Is going to get forced away in a nice Astral. Gremlo should still die. They're going to try and kill Lies as a trade, but Lies is perfectly fine. It's right out of there. Freezing Field from Goat onto Tuffy. So that's the Undying gone, but what do you do after that? Alan does not care for it. Canis goes for the Astral. Arrow is going to follow up. But they're not getting close to him. 4-staff now onto Alan. Alan's still alive. Go back in after Goat. Goat's going to die. Canis just going to leave the Bristle be.
That 4-staff killed Goat, so Canis probably feeling a bit guilty killing off the CM. They've lost a bit of that lead here, Mike. 5 to 18, 6k up. It's going down a bit. They do have the SNY on the PL, but you are hitting those spikes. The Bristleback feeling a lot tankier with the Eternal Shroud up front. Lies with the Ags just doing so much damage. And these fights drag on for a long time because there's no instant burst yet. On the side of Arkosh, although they are chasing Monster, but...
Fog of War going to kick in. Monster. Dark Rift is there. He should be safe. And he is. Arrow. Off timing anyway. Nice little play there from Monster. Does have the Rod of Atos now up on the Underlord. The top tier 1 does finally go down to Alan. You mentioned this earlier on, but they are definitely losing a bit of momentum here, Arkosh. At IO level 20, it's slowly but surely going to get there, and that's when the real problems do begin. Even now, just with the Ags alone, you saw how much Pale Horse was struggling with the spirits coming in. Still a lot of damage, even without that level 20 mark.
It's difficult. I think maybe consider a value Hood of Defiance for the PL. Not the strangest thing. We see PLs go for that build all the time. It's just a bit late for it. He is queuing up the Ag Shard instead, so it's reminiscent of what we've been seeing from other PLs. We'll see if it will pay off and if he commits. For now, 5ManMidas take control of the top jungle roaming. True, they have to be a bit wary forcing a fight now as there is Ravage up on Gremlo. They can maybe turn around and force a fight out, but I think Arkosh are just keen to get back into farming, wait for these item spikes to come out, wait for maybe the Ags on Canis Vulpus for more control, but it doesn't feel like 5ManMidas should give them that time. They want to play aggressive. They need to use this Atos spike on Monster and need to play while Alan is fairly strong. The Bristleback does spike and drop back down if you're not careful.
Astral there, Canis Vulpus down at the bot lane, has the Bristle. Gremlo's going to come in and try and help out, but Alan is fairly tanky now. Still, Canis doing a lot of damage. Ravage being committed as well with the Sanities. It's not enough yet. The heal is way too high, but Lies is dropping in terms of HP. Freezing Field out, they will finally get the IO. Now Alan should be a bit of a sitting duck. This Pale Horse comes in from the side, but they won't even need him. He'll get started onto Monster. The damage is really high on that Underlord. He will go down as well on Aikster. The last one there for the full team wipe to go to Canis Vulpus. Gremlo tries to steal the kill, but that's not how it works.
Goat was dropping his items as well. I believe he dropped his sentries in front. Or his recipe for the Glimmer Cape. So, feeling confident now, Arkosh, finding the full team fight. And you gotta be cautious about going in like that. Yeah, the Bristle's strong. You can kind of life steal through the Voodoo Mask and is potent. But now with the full Spirit Vessel on Crow, you're not getting as much durability in the front lines. And the damage does pile on. This is an OD. He does deal pure damage. It will scale really well into late game.
And it will. Getting the Aghanim Scepter up very soon on that OD, so you're going to be able to just astral people left, right, and center. It's going towards Lies. Alan is there as well. Canis just being a nuisance. Just throwing an astral out and running away. Pings are coming from Alan. He wants them to chase, it seems. They aren't going to catch him, though.
It's a bit keen. I think they understand this is an opening because Santis and Ravage are still down. But DD on Pale Horse
wants to fight, but you don't necessarily want to go after the Bristle first. Don't forget, there's no Ravage for this team fight. They wanted Lies, but he's out of there. And now the double shackle's out. Gremlo is going to be able to walk away from that with the Kraken Shell, and Alan going to keep going, but Lies is dropping very low now on the IO. It's not enough quite yet, but Pale Horse trying to rush in, does get the IO. And now it's on to Duffy. As Alan, still trying to run, is losing mana. Doomstone is going to go down. Monster still going, but is still dying. That'll be your Bristleback dying as well. Canis looking for the last one once again, and it is going to be Aikster on the Wind Ranger. And he'll find him eventually. But a nice shackles from Aikster to try and get himself out, and he's going to make it.
Yeah, it's gotta admire Goat's positioning there. Wraps around through the back, gets the freezing field off in the middle, gets 2 kills, and winning that fight without Ravage, without Santis, means they can go straight into the pit, and they're gonna have those spells up if there is another fight breaking out. Pale Horse is fighting support. He's going for that Aether Lens build. He's going for the Octarine. Of course, he went for the Ag Shard. So he just wants to be able to spam out his spells. And to be fair, it's a pretty low cooldown, right? Spirit Lance is at 5 seconds. So once you get the Octarine, you're going to have a lot of Spirit Lances bouncing.
Canis. Who's he got there? It's going to be Monster. Arrow connects to Bird. But Lies is here to try and keep him healed up. Big Ravage though. Gremlo landing on all 4. They've lost 2 already. Lies is going to try and run, and Alan is going to try and distract them. But they are not distracted at all. Unfortunately, the recall will mean Lies is going to be safe, but Alan, not so much. Canis. There you go. Okay. Monster called it. They've had enough.
Oh, Arkosh. They look unstoppable here. The Demon's threats coming through. 5ManMidas, they're playing with 2 subs. That could be affecting some of the communication here. I don't know if Alan was joking about not playing in months. And of course, Gremlo actually had a good time despite that one non-existent Ravage that never happened down. But he still managed to turn the game. As you mentioned, he was ahead in that fort for a long time. 5ManMidas, they tried to go for this IO Bristleback, but a safely in IO. They got good timings in that Ag Scepter, just couldn't really capitalize off of it. We'll see what they change up for game 2, but that was an exciting game 1 here.
How many times do you think we've casted Arkosh games and not seen Canis denying bounty runes away? I feel like it's happened many times, but we just never see it. We just assume he took it.
Oh, yes.
We'll have a chat with Canis after this. We'll find out what the strat is behind that. Still, last game of the night coming up between Arkosh and 5ManMidas. Arkosh are 1 game in the lead. We'll see if they can keep that up. It is going to be 10 minutes away for the second game draft, and we'll see you all again very soon.